What's going on, ladies and gentlemen of the Hessian Army? It's Brendan here, and today I'm bringing you my official review of WandaVision. Now, if you haven't seen WandaVision yet, it's great. 10 out of 10 would recommend to a friend. Go watch it. And if you haven't seen any of the MC movies and you aren't caught up, I got a video for that. Now, for the rest of this video, I'm going to be discussing things that happen in WandaVision, so obviously, spoiler warning. So to kick this video off, I'm going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of the show. These episodes do an excellent job of kicking off the show, introducing the characters, and establishing the setting of the show. Additionally, they keep you engaged in the overall story by hinting at a bigger picture. The first few episodes are very whimsical and very funny, and bring out a new side of Wanda's character that we really haven't seen yet. But my favorite part about these episodes are when things go off script. For example, Wanda will drop her act completely when something goes wrong. Like in the scene where Mr. Hart is choking on the walnut, she completely loses her 50s accent when she goes to tell Vision to help him out. And this same thing happens when she sees the beekeeper. But I'd have to say that the most amazing part is in the third episode after Wanda gets rid of Geraldine. The aspect ratio changes from the 70s format to the modern day cinematic format, and that just gives me chills every single time. Also, the amount of detail that went into each decade's sitcom will not go without notice. The creators of the show really nailed it. Moving on, I want to talk about episodes 4 through 7. The opening scene of episode 4 hit so hard and is probably one of my favorite scenes of the entire series. It truly provides context to the chaos that ensued after everyone was brought back from the snap. Overall, these 4 episodes do a really good job of plot A, plot B storytelling, making the cuts short enough to keep the audience engaged, but long enough to keep the story progressing. For plot A inside the Hex, Wanda's false reality is starting to fall apart around her, and she has to start dealing with the reality of what she's doing. You start to get a glimpse more into Wanda's past, and her character starts to deepen with her interactions with her children and with fake Pietro. Also, casting the same actor for fake Pietro as the X-Men Quicksilver is a stroke of genius, because it creates the same level of confusion among the audience as it does for Wanda. Additionally, Vision's subplot through these 4 episodes is an allegory for the audience's journey through these episodes. Just as Vision searches for answers as to what's going on in Westview, we too are looking for answers as to what's going on in WandaVision. As for plot B and what is going on outside of the Hex, the real world implications of what Wanda is doing is called into question. The writers of WandaVision understand that the audience thinks that Wanda isn't an MCU villain, and uses that to divide the heroes and the villains outside of the Hex. Those who defend Wanda, namely Agent Wu, Dr. Lewis, and Monica Rambeau, all are deemed the good guys, while those who want to end Wanda are deemed the villains, like that of Director Hayward. Now for the way Monica receives her powers. It's a rather simple but grounded explanation, and the visuals and the background voices for that scene create a really powerful origin for Photon. And Agent Jimmy Woo was so fun and really helped the story, but I felt like his role really fell off towards the end. The same goes for Darcy Lewis. She was a fun, witty character and she really helped the story move forward, but I felt like her role at the end sort of disappeared, and I would have liked to have seen more from her character and from Jimmy Woo. Finally, for Director Hayward's character, he's sort of a guy you'd love to hate. The writers established trust in this character just to slowly break it over time, which is why I think he's one of the more underrated villains in this show. Overall, episodes 4 through 7 do a really good job of weaving these two stories together, and they leave us wanting more for the final 2 episodes. Also, Agatha All Along is an absolute bop. Now on episode 8, my personal favorite. It was an incredibly dark episode, and I think that's a welcome change of pace for the show leading up to the final episode. And to see the events in Wanda's life that we had only heard about in the dialogue of previous movies shattered my expectations. These scenes truly allowed the audience to fully understand the trials and struggles that Wanda had to endure throughout her entire life. The writing in the flashbacks at the Avengers compound and the one at the Sword compound create some of the most heartbreaking and somber moments in all of the MCU. And there's no way that you can tell me that the scene at the abandoned house lot did not break your heart. This episode is one of my favorites because it brings to light some of the struggles that Wanda's had to endure, and it provides a lot of context for her character. Now, finally, the last episode. This episode does a good job of wrapping up all the stories of Wanda, Vision, the villains, and all of the secondary characters. First, the philosophical fight between Vision and White Vision was some of the best writing in the entire show. These two characters are essentially equal in both strength and ability, so it was only fitting for one to outcomputer the other. The fight between Wanda and Agatha was also incredible. And not only did Wanda have to endure a fight with Agatha physically, but Wanda also had to struggle internally and decide whether or not she wanted to embrace her destiny. Wanda using the runes to defeat Agatha was incredibly clever, and the scene where Wanda finally becomes the Scarlet Witch was amazingly well done, and it still gives me chills to this day. The events that occur between the final fight and the final goodbye seem a bit out of place and rather slow, but in my opinion, they are redeemed by what happens afterwards. The final goodbyes between Wanda and her children and with Vision are so heartbreaking, but are so incredibly well written. And this really goes to show that Wanda is coming to terms with her past and is ready to move on with her future. Overall, I think WandaVision is an incredible story of how Wanda becomes the Scarlet Witch, and I'm so glad that other characters got to be developed along the way. The finale, including the end credit scene, leaves me wanting so much more, and I am so excited for future MCU projects. WandaVision was an incredible journey. It was filled with lots of laughs, lots of shock, lots of tears, and lots of memes. That's all for today. Be sure to join my Discord group for live updates on my videos, and be sure to do your duty by liking the video and subscribing to the YouTube channel. That's all for today. Over and out.